2 o'clock, I guess. Greg will join us momentarily.
Sure, thank you.
Go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit the like button on whatever version of my social media platforms you guys are on. It's Courageous Conservatism. We're going to discuss some of the presidential debate things today. I have with me Dr. Geoffrey R. Mitchell, and then Eugene Ralph Sr. from Game Change. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, and Greg Whiteman should be with us momentarily. So go ahead. I'll start with Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
What's going on, audience out there? Dr. Geoffrey R. Mitchell, proud graduate.
Okay, see, you got your camera off.
Oh, hold on. All right, Dr. Geoffrey R. Mitchell, everyone. Dallas born and Dallas bred. Proud James Madison graduate. Oh, what's going on, brother?
How you doing, brother?
I come up on hog chicken, still roll through there, get rooted, chicken, proud, black, conservative. I'm finna hold it down. All I am is just a servant. I'm finna liberate my brothers and sisters off of this Democratic plantation we own. But other than that, I'm just a servant. I'm just trying to do my thing.
Go ahead, Eugene. Introduce yourself to the audience.
All right, I'm Eugene Ralph, senior, right here in Dallas, locus, and all around conservative, just trying to advance the conservatism. Great to meet you guys. Great guy. Everybody. For some reason, my camera's not on. I can't get it to come on, but hopefully I'll be able to get it in a few minutes.
Okay, go ahead. Greg Whiteman is with us, a local businessman. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, Greg.
Hello, this is Greg Whiteman. As Troy said, local businessman, originally from Dallas, Texas, if you can believe that. Grew up in Oak Cliff.
So I brought together for you guys a diverse group of brothers so that we can talk about, this whole thing with the debates, and we're in this election cycle right now, guys. And so we just want to kind of dissect today. We're taking this time to this brief time with you to dissect what our takeaways were from the vice presidential debate on last night. There are some things that I just want us to get into, because there's so much controversy and so much talk about this election. And, this is the most important election of our lifetime. You consistently hear that in the news media. And so I wanted to bring together a diverse, it's rare that you find a diverse group of black men that are conservatives, that are willing to share their opinions on various things that are going on in the political arena. And nowadays you have people that are afraid to put, they're supporting Trump. I'm afraid to tell anybody. That's insane. If I'm, but you can run around and support Biden and Harris all day long, and it's okay for you to speak out, but I can't speak out. The devil is a lie. So I just wanted to come together, and so I wanted you guys to put a face to these gentlemen. These are some of the gentlemen that I run with. I know you guys see me all over the place doing things and just sharing the message of what I call now the gospel of conservatism according to Jesus Christ. And so because I've learned to tie the two together to help educate not only the black community, but all liberals that are voting against their values. They tell you that they have certain values and certain morals and certain beliefs, and then they go to the ballot box and vote contrary to their beliefs. And so, Eugene, so what was your takeaway last night from the debate?
Overall, I thought it was a good debate. It just from my view, I thought stir out a little bit. Wasn't Mike Pence debater, and from debates from all that, I think he definitely topped, but I preferred. I'm a little bit more aggressive and animated, going after someone that I oppose. I just that if he would have been a little bit more aggressive, which is fairly for him. Was pretty good. But on certain issues, there were certain things that I hope that he would have been a little bit more explicit in bringing up. I think overall he did a really good job. It's been a contend with the moderator that seemed like she constantly having to one to him up, but much with Kamala. But other than that, I mean, I'm pleased. He exposed her for what she is. She is a fake. Ever since I've been on the Judiciary Committee with the Kavanaugh hearings, it's across to me as someone who's condescending, arrogant, extremely vindictive, and I would always say she's a woman. I won't ever have to. I never want to be a court where she sit bench.
No.
Hey, I definitely understand you on that. You know, that they didn't call a locker brother of Kamala for nothing.
Right. I'm telling you, she to me is probably the worst visual that you could have of any type of power.
That's good. So what were some of your takeaways, Greg?
Well, to echo a little bit of what Eugene said, I took the Pence demeanor a little differently in that he was so relaxed and so cool and calm that the moderator, even though he went through his time, the moderator's like, I should be interrupting you and stopping you, but what you're saying is so good and so calming that I have to listen to you finish your thought. And he ran over several times. I think overall, though, that I don't think anyone, just like the first debate, changed their mind on who they're going to vote for based on the debate. A lot of times the debates, they really, they don't answer the question. I mean, you saw that on Kamala, whether she's going to pack the court or some of the other issues. So, did anyone, I mean, I don't think anyone here on this call changed their mind, right? So I think that that's probably true for most Americans. So
I agree, because I know my mind, because I've done my research, I've done my homework, I understand what the left, and I don't even say Democrat anymore. I understand what the left has to offer.
Yeah.
And so, because the Democrat Party has been totally hijacked by the left, and the leftist ideology, just for them to have the gall to tell us that we already know how you think, and we already know everything about you. We know what you need, and you've never been into the community. You've never spoken to any of us. You don't come to. They talk about Republicans or conservatives not coming to their events. Your own Democrat leaders don't come to your events. I hear that time and time again. They come every 2 to 4 years when it's time to be reelected. So it's time out for trying to make this a one-sided ordeal, because the very people that you vote for and the very people that you elect don't show up in your community. And you talk about what conservatives not showing up. You're not represented by any conservatives in most of these communities, right. Especially for those of you that are listening in Dallas County, those of you that are listening in Kaufman County, those of you that are listening in Collin County, because Collin County is pretty blue. And so you guys are represented by leftists. And so, but you want to fault conservatives and Republicans for what is happening in your communities. How can we make a change in your community when we don't represent you? You don't give us the opportunity to represent you. You don't give us the opportunity to represent your values. And so, yes, when Joe Biden said that blacks are a monolith, he was talking about you. And he understands that you guys have been programmed on what to think and not how to think. And so he understands that your vote belongs to them. That's why he said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Yeah.
He's confident in what he's saying. And he's confident in what he's saying because the black community, the minority community, has given them that type of power. You talk about, you don't want to be in slavery, but you have made them your slave owners yet again. Dr. Mitchell, go ahead and give us your input, and we're gonna really dig deep into this thing.
Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it from the particular point in history, ladies and gentlemen. And essentially, I want to do, when I'm not, hanging out and in the front lines, I'm also a member of the Frederick Douglass Republicans of Tarrant County. And for those who are familiar with the history of Frederick Douglass and his accomplishment as him being a free man, then that on itself stands on the roots. We've been here a long time, ladies and gentlemen. We've been here since the largest slave trade in 1619. And so for those of us who want to keep us away from our God and separate us from our country, and then also try to separate us from our family, these are not good people, y'all. It really doesn't have anything really to do with the Democratic Party or the Socialist Movement. It really has something to do with us. It's because we come from proud roots. We are the children of the Middle Passage. We must understand our African history. Now, when I'm not playing politics, I'm also an African historian. We have strong roots, y'all. And so when we look at what's going on with the debate last night, there were some things that Senator Harris addressed. And one of the things was her attitude with respect to the president. We don't call the president by his first name. His name is President Trump, or you can call him President Donald Trump. So obviously there's an issue with that in terms of how we dress, like we would call her Senator Kamala Harris. You're going to call me Dr. Geoffrey R. Mitchell. Sometimes I call Dr. Jackson Troy, but I call him because we've been on the front lines of this movement. But usually I do by surname. That's just how we came up. I can't blame it on the millennials. The other really thought that they tried to address that I thought was real poor was they want to continue to use the issue that happened in Charlottesville in regards to Robert E. Lee. And if we don't know our history is a weapon, ladies and gentlemen, out there in the audience. And if we don't use it properly, we don't tell our children what Dallas, Texas, or Texas used to be like back in the 70s, back in the 80s, back in the 40s, if you've been around a while, what Texas used to be like in terms of government. And so after a while, we just can't continue to blame everybody. After a while, we need to start looking at ourselves. And so I'm going to turn that back on over because I know I talked about a lot of different things. And I know Dr. Jackson, he's used to hearing me talk about a lot of stuff. And I want to make sure that I'm letting y'all know a lot of times some of these brothers that's doing what we're doing, we do this because we believe in our country. We believe in our president. We believe in our God. We're gonna hold this line, and we believe in the cause. And so I'll say that right there, Dr. Jackson. I appreciate you.
Jeff, I think that, am I the only one on mute? Or is Troy on?
Dr. Jack, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I was.
Yeah, but it looked like you were saying something very, very important. I mean, so I want to echo, our community is not monolithic, right? And I don't think it was a black woman that was stocking the shelf so that Joe Biden can sit in his bunker. I think that we are a very talented group of people that is fragmented in a lot of ways, and we don't call on our strengths to build our own communities. But when we do that, and should we ever do that, and I'm not saying desegregate. I think through the body of Christ, we're all the same, and we're all the same in Christ. So I'm not saying to desegregate, but when you have a mass of people who live under the poverty line, the first people that will probably help them are those that are related to them, similar and same culture. So we the biggest things that we need to do is fix our schools, properly educate our kids, create a workforce that can make it in the next economy, and then provide safe places to live. And if we do that, then our community will explode. And a lot of times, we have these politicians who get power and stay in power by saying, I am working for you without showing any result. Baltimore, certain places in the southern sector of Dallas, Detroit, New Orleans. All these places have had black leadership. But the blacks have not, as a whole, benefited from that leadership. And it's not a resource problem. It's a leadership problem. And we've got to address the leadership, but we can't continue to vote the same people who give us the same results. And you certainly don't want to bring those people and those same policies that started and emanated out of Detroit, Baltimore. You don't want those policies here. I'll leave it at that.
That's good. That's good. That's where we're going. That's where we're going. Eugene?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I agree. I agree with what Greg is saying, and also regard to that point. A lot of the effort have to be made. It's got to be a little bit, I guess, almost like a Creek type effort has to assault the lies that's been causing the community mentality to be jacked up for so long. A lot of what we deal with comes to Black people making these consistent sad decisions is their own fault, because and I say they because I don't include it's foolishness. It's ultimately their own. They have access, and if they choose to seek out. But when you're in a culture where you've been bombarded from the same, it sort of makes it seem like it's nothing else. The guy Uncle Tom, he's the guy at Worth. I can't remember his name right. Tatum. How he grew up in right here in Fort Worth and did not know much out of his own hood is what was going on in the world. I thought that was an extremely sad commentary. Unfortunately, it's such a reality for so many people, and because they're not challenged to look outside of that, even though a lot of times they're tell them that something is right. And having so many Black peers, I know this to be true. So my thing is that those of us who are in the position like we're in to be a voice have to be aggressive in that, and basically take this as an act that needs to be on narrative that's consistently enslaving temporarily to believe consistent lies that lie told from the. And so I would say I get pretty mentally exercised about this. Part of the reason why I said what I hear about the nature that has to be coming from ours in regard to the first thing the other side does, we come at them hard. They say he's mean spirited, she's mean spirited. I'm like, man, I would size that foolishness in the New York. Don't come at me with those lies. Crap you here is not considered mean spirited. Don't know what is. And I'm not going to go on the defense of trying to convince somebody that I'm mean spirited. I'm saying listen to what I'm saying and compare what you're hearing from the other side. And stop all this garbage. I will not be silenced. What I have to say it, and say it the way I believe it needs to be. And then you're going to have to just decide for yourself how you're going to. Of course, we have measured in some things, but the point I'm making is that the will at this when we speaking to large group is provocative. It has to be some to stand up and take notice in their psyche, cause them to really vision of the serious lie told for years. And I think that when we think about Trump's for the most part, it's the way we talk when we talk to each other. You know, the reason why he had a 73% positive rating in the Hispanic community after the debate last week was within these minority cultures, we're not shy about our thoughts out there. We're aggressive. We're vocal. You know, we're ahead on this. In all of this genteel type dollishness that I hear, you know, these people talking. I'm like, look, y'all living in a macro. You need all the coffee. This just don't work. You know what you call yours debate or you know actually going to a war of ideas, whatever. But the bottom line is we consistently watch our culture move in the wrong direction, and all of that is having huge negative affectations throughout the year. Everything coming behind it. We cannot continue to allow that to happen and stop it. We're going to have to like the cancer that it is. Go after it, intent of it out, being it permanently.
That's good, Eugene. We got to get you to work on your audio though. But yeah, that would be good.
I'm sorry. I'll put my headset in. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, no worries. So out of my question to all of you guys. So out of the debate last night, which of the questions do you think was, I won't say not necessarily an unnecessary question, but a question that was designed to give points to the leftists, but backfired?
Well, I think the one that could be better presented by Pence is when the moderator asked, you know, because of your candidate, your running party's age, have you talked about, you know, what will happen on the transition of power? You know, the one was, you know, is Trump going to leave office? That is the most ridiculous question to ask. I mean, because really, he's shown no indication that he's going to try to stay in office. The law's not with him. His people aren't with him. If he loses fairly, he will. His people will say, "No, you lost fairly." If it's worse than what we saw when George Bush ran against Gore, then that's a different story. But you know, to suggest that he will not leave office, but not address the fact that Biden may not leave office,
right?
Totally one-sided, and it was to me
definitely, and it was definitely intentional, and it was one of those design. I think it's awesome to me how they like to project that we're going to do, or we're going to try to do something that is in actuality something that they're going to do,
right.
Something that they continue to do. I mean, look at the 3.5 years of Russia collusion and all of that foolishness that they knew was false, but they wasted taxpayer dollars, wasted the American people's time, just trying to go after something that was a narrative that they created.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Dr. Mitchell?
Well, I just think that I don't think that the question with the young girl, that was nice and that's sweet. And I think they said that I think it was the female, maybe ate that nice little heartstring. You know, why is everybody so angry and so mad? Well, probably because in the 8 years while she was in her mama, before she was born, probably, you know, President Obama kind of set this notion. I can't say it back. Not that this is a big thing for me. My relationship with white people was pretty good prior to Obama. But it just got real. I got some white people. We've been cool long time, okay? But it's been real tense, especially after the first 4 years of Obama, and in the second term, I can't tell you about. And I mean, I'm in my mid-50s, and I've always been pretty cool with white people. Really got tense within after them 8 years, and so I think that was something that was nice and heartfelt, but real, especially for a VP position, things that really articulate issues of public policy is something that I probably would have think would have been within bounds in terms of how they would lead, because that's just me. And all the other fluffs I like to call, we call those beltway. These are beltway, Washingtonian, super class questions. And obviously these come out of the beltway for Washingtonian. And so that's what they think in that Virginia, Maryland, and DC triad when you go over there. But I think some of us kind of know. But the heartland of America is really, other than that question outside of there, that was a heartland question that probably I would have probably asked, and I stayed that on that part.
That's good. That's good. What you got, Eugene?
You're on mute, brother.
Is he having more technical issues?
No, here we go. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So what I was. Oh mercy. Let me shut this. Okay. So I was trying to get my iPad. The iPad. You caught me. Caught me a little bit. Yeah. I thought. First of all, tell me what the question was. The question was because I lost it. Troy.
Okay. Troy's on mute right now. Troy, you're on mute.
Yeah. What was the question?
The question that he asked was there a question from the last night's debate that
was off bounds? Yeah. That one mentioned about the age of the president and some of the foolishness they asked. I thought the way Mike answered the question in sort of half was actually really good. I think that I don't know. I guess I'm a little more aleck. My answer would have been something in line with I'd be more concerned about Biden's age than you do Donald Trump's age. Also considering I would have brought up the fact of overall of both people to make my point home how risky it is to elect Joe beyond other obvious points, but I guess he not to go than that. The way he answered the question was pretty good. There was something else. I just what I think of what it was right now. But the reality is, I think what has to happen more people on our side is with Newt Gingrich when he does time. He would take and point out that the question is absurd and reset the then answer the question should be asked. And I think he's masterful at that. I think a lot of the Republicans got from him. Just simply watch. He's done on numerous occasions, and he's not the only one to it. I've noticed that there's most people who are in public life who are really good at really speaking. They do that, and that's what done. Hey, Troy, you on Troy?
It helps to unmute yourself.
It does help to unmute yourself.
Okay.
So what would each of you guys say to the viewers? Because I know I told you guys I was going to keep it at 30 minutes for this one. I'm getting a lot of comments from people saying that we got to do this more often because they are getting some good information from us. And they like the group of gentlemen that I brought together for this. So they are honored to be here with you, and we thank you guys for watching, definitely. So what would you guys say to those that are watching that are still undecided as far as to help them dig in to really make a decision now prior to the next debate? And then the twofold part of that question is, do you think that the president should participate in this virtual debate? Why or why not? We'll start with the Echo Man, Eugene. Eugene? Maybe not. Okay. Well, we'll start with Greg, and we'll come back to Eugene.
Okay, so I guess you had a couple questions there. One, what should we tell people who are undecided? Eugene and I founded an organization called Game Changers that helps people to vote their values. And people have to understand, when you cast your vote, that the Latin for vote is votum, which means to make a vow as for life. So if you're going to vote for someone, you're voting for their policies and the effects that they had, that those policies may have for generations. If you do not agree with the policy, but you like the person and he's cool, you're voting that value in, and you know, depending on if you're spiritual or not, you may be held accountable for that. So know what you're voting for. Get past the sound bites. You know, I was on a call today, and most of the guys were liberal, and the big thing they took away from the debate was the fly that landed on Pence. Are you serious? I mean, really, so know what you're actually voting for and how it's going to affect you and your family. And I guess the second question, Troy, you have to remind me, what did it pertain to?
So the second portion of that was, so you covered kind of helping the individuals kind of make their mind up on what they want to do. And so I guess more so on the second fold portion of that would be really what I was trying to really get into and to dig into the root of on that is merely the fact, trying to figure out a good way to put it for the audience. It would be basically for them to get an understanding. So they've got the understanding portion of voting their biblical values or voting their values if they're not a person of faith. Everybody has some type of values. So the second fold part of that would be with the presidential debate coming up. Do you feel like the president should participate in a virtual debate when he has been cleared based upon COVID-19? Why or why not? What would be your reasoning behind that?
Thanks. Sorry about that. It's when you work out of the house. So my deal on the virtual debate is no, I don't think he should. And the rationale is it's a Zoom call. You can be muted. Technology. And the fact, I think it's something that you can almost say that the Biden campaign is trying to run from actually having to make a debate, because Zoom, I mean, look at the challenges we're having right here on this, and if you looked at the Democratic convention, they did it mostly on Zoom, and it, you know, to coin a phrase, it was an unmitigated disaster. regardless of whether you believed in what they were saying, that the delivery of it was poorly executed. So a Zoom call, and by the way, is there anybody in this world that's not tired of Zoom calls at this point?
Yes.
So you know, let's have it in public, and if 6 feet is not enough, have them separate 24 feet. And no one comes in but 3 people. So to not have a debate tells me that the one side that supposedly won it realizes that the majority of the people who saw those debates don't really think that they won it. Otherwise, if you think you want a debate, you'd be ready and willing to have another one the next day.
Exactly. I agree. Let's see if we got Eugene back and see if he's back. Eugene, are you back?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Okay.
Yes, we got you.
Okay. So, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I think, I don't think he should, that to me, that's too far. And what it is looking for is to give Joe Biden an opportunity to cheat, because this man, if you let him talk for 2 minutes, he's going to go off the rails. Matter of fact, I timed it an hour, 1 minute and 30 seconds, and he will be talking, start saying things that's basically a bunch of gibberish. So they have a way of helping him to stay if they have a situation that's not totally not visible of those, and I don't believe that that actually fair to anybody. So no, I think they should do an act if they're gonna do it all. If they don't want to do it, then basically Trump can just go out there and do his thing and pound this guy into the ground, because tomorrow he's supposed to be on Rush. I'm assuming 3 hours, which is pretty phenomenal. If that actually takes. As far as on our side, what we should say to them, take a few, and we discussed trying to help them realize that you don't vote for the people who's you're representing. We live in what is referred to as a representative government. If somebody represents my views of the time, I'm voting that representing me. If I vote for someone who maybe 20% of them, I vote myself. So we are able to read often, get past the foolishness and a little more rational. In the church last week with nation downloading black and there was a couple of black ladies, and when I explained to them position and
You're mute, Troy.
Okay, there you go, Dr. Mitchell. I think we lost Eugene somewhere.
We
So
lost
go
it.
ahead.
Let me bring you home, Eugene.
All right.
The 2-point question on that one is I'll try to do the best. Let's do the last one first. Of course, the president needs to do a live. It's not so much about the Zoom, but he has an existential way of thinking, and his style is unique, where he needs to be in a live audience. He doesn't need to present himself, behind video. He needs to do this live. He needs to say what he needs to say right there in front of the audience with Vice President Biden. And so, but having a Zoom and having it conference, that is not presidential. A president is going to lead. He's going to stand, and that's what he's doing. He's going to lead and do what he's supposed to do. That's what an American president does. Essentially, the other second part of the component about us and about us getting involved. I don't know what to tell y'all because I don't know. And been doing history and doing political science. As a trade, I'm a political scientist. And so I know that we go through a political metamorphoses, and it looks like it happens every 100 years for us. And so essentially you need to know. You need to look at your child, and you need to look at those you love, and you need to tell me what it is about these people in our time, especially if you've got a little teeth in the world. Now, if some of you, and I'm not talking about the millennials are defined by between 18 to 34. I'm not talking about them. They don't make up the 60% of the vote anyway. I'm talking about you that's, 36 to about 79. I'm talking about y'all. I'm talking about black people who gonna say this is the time that we are going to do this, and we need to do this one vote at a time. When we do this presidential election, but it's not even based really, y'all, on the popular vote. It's based on the electoral college. If you wasn't at a convention this summer when we chose our electoral college, and in Tarrant County, we already know where we rolling in the electoral college. I don't want to make you mad. If you don't know the history of the electoral college since 1845, then I can't help you. I just can't. But we already know where we rolling in Tarrant County. Now, some states are a little bit different because it does winner take all. It depends on the popular vote. Different states have different constitutions. But I can tell you that the electoral college will submit their electoral vote next in December. The popular vote will be November 30th. And then your voice has been heard. At the down ballot, yes, you probably want to go if you want to see them same old people keep doing the same old thing. If I were you, I'd fool them. I'd do something just real different. I mean, just fake them out. I mean, you like basketball, you like football, you like that WWE stuff. I don't care for that. I want to fake them out. Let's fake them out this year. Let's do something really radical. Let's just put it all on the conservatives, all on these Republicans. Let's just fool them. Let's just do it. And then one more. Then we're going to come back in May, and we're going to fire all of them back in May. We're going to do this twice. And we're going back November of 2021, and we're going to do something about the Texas Constitution, and we're going for the governor. I need you. 3 times. We're going to show them we're not playing. Let's show them we're not playing. Black people is going to make the decision. We've been doing it in the American Revolution, black people. War of 1812, black people. Civil War, black people. World War I, World War II, black people. It's us that's going to make the defining decision. We're not going to let them people do us like this, y'all. Come join me on the front lines of a great cause. That's our revolution, baby. Revolution, baby.
Now you guys see why I brought together this particular group of men for this particular stream. And I mean, I know you guys were blessed by this. I know we went over by a few minutes, but this was some good information. And I know it's helped you guys just looking at you guys' comments in the comment section. This was awesome. We will do this again. I'm going to get with these guys and see what kind of availability that they have next week, because I want to set up a time when we can come on, possibly in one of the evenings, and talk to you guys. And our next topic is we're going to be dissecting Black Lives Matter. we going there. We get ready to take it to the root of the problem. We're going to, as black men, not black feminist men, but black men, we are going to dissect Black Lives Matter. And we want you guys to join us, share it, like. I'm going to put out the information. We're going to blast it out. And we want as big of audience across all of these various platforms as we can get. Thank all of you guys for tuning in today. We definitely appreciate you. And look like Eugene finally got in somewhere. So I'll let Eugene close us out, and then we will set this thing up to do it again. So let me bring him in on this one where I see him.
There we go.
Oh yeah. I had to change devices. So I just want to thank you, Troy, for bringing this together. Just a pleasure meeting you for the first time, Dr. Mitchell, and Greg. You know, my partner in crime, my other partner in crime. It's great to see you as well.
You too, bro.
And for everybody that's on, I just want to thank you for giving us a little bit of time today to talk about these issues, and very pertinent issues. I have been one who's been concerned about the Black community literally all my life, but since I've been involved in politics, and quite honestly, until I came here to Dallas and got with Greg and some of these other guys, I had no actual way of messaging to our community in a way that seemed that it was going to have any kind of an impact. But working with these guys, initially I was just fired up. And so it's been inspiring and encouraging to be able to do that. And there's so many avenues to get that out. But for people who are sitting on the sidelines trying to figure it out, I would just say to consider who you are as an individual, consider your belief systems, and if you're Christian, you should be making your decisions based biblically anyway. And with that being the case, when we deal with the moral issues, which being the life issue as well as the homosexual agenda, those two things should be the driving components for everything that we do before we do anything else. Because ultimately, God is more concerned about where we stand on things He cares about before He cares about any of this other stuff. These other things, whether it be finance, whether it be foreign policy, all that stuff is secondary in the mind of God. So when we're considering what's God's position on any issue, His issue is going to be the protection of innocent life, and the whether or not we're going to stand firm on his way of the way he designed us to live as human beings, being male and female. And that those two things, I think, should be the driving components. But before we do anything else, if a candidate can't get it right on those things, it don't really matter how good they are in the Second Amendment. As much as crazy as I am about protecting the Second Amendment, because the reality is, if God is not pleased with us, we're fooling ourselves when we go and ask Him to bless us.
Man, that's good. That's good. Well, thank you guys all for coming together. I know you guys got busy days ahead. We will get together. I will coordinate, and we will do another one of these next week for all of these people that are commenting, saying that this was awesome and that they loved it. Thank you guys for making the time to do this, so that we have to, as Black men and as leaders, we're all leaders. We have to continue to share this information and get this information out to those that need it, to these people that are being indoctrinated. It's time for us to take the offensive stance, not just play defense as Republicans and as conservatives and as men. We have to take the stand and go in the forefront, go into the enemy's camp, and take the message that the people need to hear, so that we can bring them out of bondage.
Amen.
You know, and I believe that together with all of you guys and with so many other brothers that I'm working with, of all ethnicities, that us coming together, we can create change in Dallas County, Tarrant County, in the entire North Texas Metroplex that will affect the entire state of Texas. And like my brother Alan West says, so goes Texas, so goes the nation. So therefore, we're going to hold North Texas, so that we can hold Texas, so that we can hold the nation.
Amen.
Thank you guys again. Go ahead and get back to your day. Thank you guys. Thank all of you viewers. We so appreciate you guys. I'll send out the invite for when we're going to have this discussion where we're going to dissect Black Lives Matter. Tell all your friends when I post it, and I make sure you share it, like it. And we're going to be interactive. We want to engage you. Thank you guys again. Have a great day, guys.
God bless.
Thanks, guys.